don't bet that if you cut him. He'll hit 300 next month and you might regret it. Still, it's probably the smart move. Don't drop him. Philadelphia Cesar Hernandez has job and run scoring security, but is mired in a big slump. It should correct. The Cardinals' Paul DeJong is safe as well. Yes, they are struggling. However, they are not bad. I would keep Chavis too. Outfielders. Barely over 50% mixed league must add. Jay Bruce, Phillies. Eloy Jimenez, White Sox. Malik Smith, Mariners. Justin Upton, Angels. Below 50% must add. Houston's Alvarez leads the way. I think Tampa Bay's Kevin Kiermaier, in spite of batting average, earns a spot based on his stolen bases. He is already into double digits, which matters when fewer than 20 players have reached that plateau. His teammate, obviously, Yael Garcia, is legit too. The Rays know what they are doing, and fantasy managers should watch what they do each offseason. Worth adding. I do not think Kansas City's Jorge Soler will hit for average, but that is a 30-home run fellow for sure. It is not a surprise and emergence. San Diego's Franmil Reyes could be a 40-homer fellow. I do not understand why so many people moved on from him. No, he will not homer twice a week. That is not how power hitters do it. The Angels' Cole Calhoun is good enough to roster for a while. Miami's Garrett Cooper has the look of a potential fifth fantasy outfielder and may perhaps end up as the Marlins' best hitter. Oakland's Ramon Laureano strikes out too much, but he looked awesome on Wednesday and really could be a 2020 hitter this year. Pittsburgh's Brian Anderson just keeps on hitting for average, and he got a vote of confidence despite the healthy return of Corey Dickerson. Mixed league stash. Just because the Astros promoted one star prospect doesn't mean they can't bring up another. Watch what Kyle Tucker does. One of the pair can handle first base possibly. If you need stolen bases, and who doesn't, then you might want to add Philadelphia's Roman Quinn quickly, for he might join the team this weekend. His next injury could be seconds away, but he will play, with Kingery usurping the third base role from bad Maikel Franco. Drop him. I like the Dodgers' Alex Verdugo, but it seems like his power is not quite here yet. With Cincinnati's Jesse Winker, it's the opposite. How can he not hit for average? He adjusted his approach a bit too much. Those who are waiting on Pittsburgh's Dickerson can move on. Billy Hamilton of the Royals simply does not run enough. Don't drop him. Seattle's Mitch Haniger is too good to be dropped because of a 3-week IL stint. Yes, the injury had to be awful, but he should play soon. Youngsters Nick Senzel of the Reds and Washington's Victor Robles are on the most drop list. I would not do that. Part with Adam Jones first. We knew he would not sustain his April. Catchers. Worth adding. People are still a bit slow in adding Houston's Robinson Chirinos and legit Twins backstop Mitch Garver. I doubt Cleveland's Roberto Perez keeps hitting for power, or Miami's Jorge Alfaro ever figures out what is and what is not a strike. But hey, why not? Mixed league stash. You do not stash a catcher unless it is a dynasty format and Adley Rutschman is out there. I would take him over San Francisco's Joey Bart. The Dodgers' Will Smith hit, but he likely will not get to hit regularly until 2020, apparently. Drop him. I go back and forth on cutting Buster Posey to a degree. Like Donaldson and Votto, I just do not see how they will be awesome again. Posey is playing, and there's no harm in seeing if he hits over the next fortnight. Don't drop him. At this point, the only catchers who must be rostered in all leagues are Gary Sanchez, JT Realmuto, Wilson Contreras, Yasmani Grandal, Yadier Molina, and Wilson Ramos in that order. Chirinos and Posey are close. Starting pitchers. Barely over 50% mixed league must add Nick Pivetta, Phillies, Julio Teheran, Braves, Joey Lucchesi, Padres. Below 50% must add. Here again, the word must is a tough one. After all, Mets left-handed hander Jason Vargas is pitching so well. But must you add him? No. I am intrigued by myriad pitchers, so this week the worth adding category is rather large. There is no Lucas Giolito situation this week where a pitcher is a universal addition. Unless we include Colorado right-hander Peter Lambert, who's won his first 2 starts and has another one scheduled at Coors Field this weekend. It's probably best to add him first and see what happens. Worth adding. We keep discussing the Marlins for good reasons. I would go Pablo Lopez first if you want upside, then Trevor Richards if you desire safety. Perhaps Sandy Alcantara starts striking hitters out and becomes the best of the three. Vargas is worth adding at this point. Rangers right-hander Adrian Sampson deserves a look. Washington's Anibal Sanchez has had 3 good outings in a row. So stop looking at his season-long numbers and remember his awesome 2018 campaign. I trust him a bit more than Arizona's Merrill Kelly, who has been great in June, and definitely more than Seattle's Mike Leake. Finally, I do not know what else Houston left-hander Wade Miley needs to do. But on that team, he can win enough to be a top 40 starter. I bet he gets there, even without a big strikeout total. I still think Pittsburgh's Mitch Keller can be what the Angels' Griffin Canning is, and that is good enough for mixed leagues, though early returns are rough. Mixed league stash. The word stash in this context means you do not expect to activate the player soon, and it is generally applied to young, unproven players. Cardinals right-hander Alex Reyes belongs here. Houston's Framber Valdez could belong in the adding category now. Oakland left-hander Jesus Luzardo could be in the majors later this month and could be awesome. White Sox right-hander Dylan Cease seems about ready, but I doubt his whip will help us much initially. Drop him. The Miami left-hander Caleb Smith, but it is tough to keep a Miami pitcher roster when he is not active. I get it. Do not drop Cleveland's Carlos Carrasco or the Yankees' Domingo Germán, however. I've had enough of lefties Martin Perez of Minnesota and Yusei Kikuchi of Seattle. Atlanta right-handers Mike Foltynewicz and Kevin Gossman are not pitching as they should. Pittsburgh's Jordan Lyles is hurt. Philadelphia's Jared Eichhoff probably allowed a home run while I'm doing this, although that could have been in my dreams/nightmares too. Don't drop him. There's a big difference between cutting San Diego's awesome rookie Chris Paddack and doing so with Philadelphia's inconsistent Jake Arrieta. I'll speak more on Paddack in a minute. With Arrieta, I get it, but there is upside there too. Carrasco is like Haniger. We don't want to think about their injuries, but we know these guys can be really, really good. More patience is needed. Relievers. Barely over 50%, mixed league must add. Hector Neris, Phillies. Below 50%, must add. Neris finally got over the 50-50 hump, so to speak. He was not there Tuesday when I talked about him. Atlanta's Luke Jackson and Hansel Robles of the Angels belong on more teams for sure. Though Atlanta is complicating matters by bringing back lefty A.J. Minter, Sean Kelly remains the closer in Texas for now. Really, are we going to wait until August for Jose Leclerc to get back to this role? I'm not. Mixed league stash. As always, a Red Sox right-hander. Who knows? I don't think any Mariner deserves much attention, but Hunter Strickland would be that Mariner. Add Nick Anderson if you think Miami's Sergio Romo loses their job or gets dealt. It could happen, I guess. I have John Gant stashed in a league, but it looks like Jordan Hicks is back on track for St. Louis, at least for now. Drop him. We say farewell to the Rays left-hander Jose Alvarado, for now, and remind ourselves how quickly things change with the volatile relief set. Leclerc belongs here, but, this is a recording. Don't drop him. Greg Holland is still a closer, and he showed it by saving Wednesday's game. Though he's really unlikely to have just 2 saves in 5 weeks, he could save 10 over the next 3 weeks. That is how it works. Fantasy managers everywhere whined when the Padres sent Paddack to the minors, but here comes a rant. We do not have to blame every organization for a cost-cutting move when not every move is for that purpose. Paddack was sent to Class A to sit for 10 days until the Padres need him back in the majors. They're monitoring his innings. We knew this would happen, and frankly, I like this plan a lot more than Paddack hitting his inning marks, whatever it might be, before September. The Padres might contend for a wild card spot. This is smarter. Paddack is not in AAA because this is essentially a vacation. He returns to pitch in the majors tentatively on June 22nd. Drop him and curse the Padres if you want, but I will hold on to him. It is a short absence and the Padres are doing the right thing. It is not about money in this case. The Padres promoted Fernando Tatis Jr. to the majors when about 25 other clubs would have waited for the extra year of service time. Paddack has struggled a bit of late. He may well be tired, and I am in favor of this transaction. Oh, and stop whining at everything. It is not healthy. Speaking of NL rookie hurlers, Atlanta's Mike Soroka was not going to finish with a 1.38 ERA. So the fact he permitted 5 runs to the Pirates and saw his ERA jump to 1.92 is not fun. Hopefully, though, it is aberrant. We don't know. We do know Soroka is not going to approach 200 innings, and the Braves have to be considering something similar to how Paddock was treated. Perhaps this is where left-handed pitcher Dallas Keuchel will fit in. I expect Soroka to get a vacation of his own soon. I've noted this about Paddock all season as well. These guys are terrific, and even if there is strangeness in their handling over the next few months, I will take the awesome innings, even if there are fewer of them. One more NL rookie hurler tidbit, Pittsburgh's Keller might need an opener because his first inning work, albeit in only 2 starts, has been troublesome. I still think a really good Major League pitcher lurks here, but the Pirates could demote him again, and few would whine about it. Oh, you want to discuss another NL rookie pitcher? Okay, this is getting crazy, but Miami Marlins right-hander Yordan Alvarez, a potential pearl from the lopsided Christian Yelich trade, stymied the Cardinals over 7 shutout innings in his debut. The Cardinals' offense has struggled for a while now, but St. Louis fans might not have noticed since their hockey team just won the Stanley Cup for the first time ever. Now, they might notice. We don't know if Yamamoto even gets to start next week, as Caleb Smith and Jose Urena might not be out long. In other words, for now, I think about how most rookie stars without a top pedigree initially thrive, only to get figured out soon after. See Cleveland's Zach Plesac. Royal shortstop Alberto Mondesi stole his 26th base. 10 MLB teams have yet to steal their 26th base. Astros Cy Young candidate Justin Verlander fanned 15 Milwaukee batters over 7 innings, but also permitted 3 home runs. Hey, this is a baseball era we live in. He might win 20 games with a 2.50 ERA and get the Cy Young Award, while also allowing 40 home runs. That has never happened before. Brewers infielder Mike Moustakas homered in the 14th inning to win the game, and he is on pace for 50 blasts. Yes, 50. However, the pace is for only 107 RBIs. Look, baseball writers and fans can whine about Moustakas having to settle for a 1-year contract, but has anyone thought about what the player was asking for in the first place and how that affected the market? For fantasy purposes, Moustakas is the number 15 hitter on the player rater. He's awesome in home runs, but merely above average for runs and RBIs. And with the second base tag, I doubt he actually hits 50 home runs, but I also doubt his fantasy value is so high that you can get an actual top 20 hitter for him in a trade. Early returns on the major trade I made in Mixed Tout Wars are, well, mixed. Edwin Encarnacion has blasted 8 home runs already in June. Miguel Sano is struggling and striking out a ton. I figured that would happen, which is why I wanted to move him. I received Starling Marte for them and a few others, and he has 3 home runs this week and a stolen base. And I really need the steals. I would say it's way too early to evaluate a trade, and usually I don't even look, but we all feel some regret when we trade a player and then he homers every night. I have to stop that and consider that Encarnacion, even at 36 with a terrible club, might keep doing this in challenges for 50 home runs for the first time. That is just crazy. Oh, I have lost like 15 points in the past week and gone from 1st to 4th place, and it has nothing to do with this trade. Cincinnati's Joey Votto homered for the 2nd time in a week, but then without any warning, he was out of the game with back stiffness. Awesome. Obviously, I mean awesome in the way of lamenting the terrible timing of an injury for a player I'm rooting for. Why do things always seem to happen to my guys? I don't know what happens next, but Votto says all is well and he will not miss time. Perhaps that's true. And as a fantasy investor, I want the power to stick around. Still, I don't think we know anything more than a player who needs his back to be healthy, left the game early for issues, and also missed a few contests back in April with the same ailment. I think we might know why the power is sapped. Toronto Blue Jays right-hander Ken Giles hit the injury list, also stands warning, with elbow concerns, but the organization is portraying this as a short vacation and nothing major. We always believe teams, right? Right? Again, we don't know. Giles is a borderline top 10 fantasy closer, and if, as with Paddock, he is missing only 1 week for those in weekly formats, then I just bench him. Don't drop him. Rumor had it Joe Biagini would handle the saves in the interim, but he blew up in the 8th inning in Baltimore, so Daniel Hudson handled things. Do not bother with Blue Jays relievers in the interim. The Indians plan to start right-handed Mike Clevenger on Monday, and as a fantasy investor, I won't wait to see how he looks. I'll simply activate one of the only 18 pitchers to have recorded a 200 strikeout season in 2018 right away. Investors in Pittsburgh's Felipe Vasquez might have panicked when the closer handled the 8th inning at Atlanta, and right-hander Kyle Crick permitted the Austin Riley